What's up, YouTube world? It's your boy Jerome, and I'm here today with the review for The Real Housewives of Dallas Season 3, Episode 9, and this episode is titled 80's Ladies. So, without further ado, let's get the video started. Alright, so we open this episode with Leanne. Leanne is having lunch with Stephanie and with Cameron. And you know, Stephanie is basically telling Leanne and Cameron how she's kind of nervous to be there with them because it's actually her first time being alone with those two without Brandy and all that kind of stuff. So with Stephanie talking about that then lets Leanne bring up Brandy because, you know, Stephanie was talking about drinking and all that kind of stuff because she had brunch before she got there, so she wasn't really going to eat, but she was going to drink champagne with them and all that kind of stuff. And then she talked about a beer, which then led Leanne to talk about Brandy, you know, at the when they went to Fort Worth to the rodeo and all that kind of stuff, how Brandy bought the hose with the funnel and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just sitting here like, Leanne, Brandy was having fun. Like, what's the big deal? Like I always say with these girls, I like all the girls with the exception of Cameron. Cameron is the only girl on this cast that I just cannot stand. And you know, I don't get how Leanne is sitting here. I know people might say she was not judging Brandy, but she was. I have to call a spade a spade. Leanne is judging Brandy for some of the things that she does. Leanne doesn't want to admit that she judges Brandy, but she does. Like I said, I'm objective because I like all the girls. I like Brandy, I like Stephanie, I like Carrie, I like Deandra, and that's it, right? It's Brandy, Stephanie, Carrie, Leanne, Deandra, and Cameron. So I like those five with the exception of Cameron. So when anything comes to Cameron, I am not objective. I just do not like her. But when it comes down to the other girls, I can call them out on their shit. And Leanne does judge Brandy. I don't care what Leanne says, she does. So, you know, Stephanie is telling the girls how she's getting her vagina lasered, basically because she pees on herself a little bit. And I'm like, I would not be on national television and tell people that I pee on myself, even if I am laughing. And, you know, Leanne is once again talking about the division between them and all that kind of stuff. Between them and the division between them all is Brandy. And I'm like, how is Brandy a division between you guys? Like, I don't get that. Like, I really do not get it. Because Brandy has not said anything negative about Leanne to sway Stephanie from being cool with her. Like, I don't get how she can say that Brandy is a division between them and all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, Brandy wants to mention how Carrie told her that Brandy said that she feels like Leanne is in Cameron's ear, and Cameron's like, Leanne is not in my ear. Technically, she is in your ear because the episode where you two went to the rodeo, Leanne was talking about Brandy being an influence on Deandra. So, fuck what you say. She was talking a little bit bad about Brandy. Like, shut up. All right. So then we have Leanne at a LGBT black tie event. So she did invite Deandra there. At first, Deandra didn't come, but later on in the party, Deandra shows up. She has Brandy with her. Now, here's the thing that annoyed me at this party was when Deandra did come. Whoever that guy was that was beside Leanne talking about Brandy being there, I'm like, what does that have to do with you? Like, let Deandra tell Leanne that she has Brandy there with her. So, you know, Brandy does come up there, and Brandy is clearly drunk, and I'll get into that a little bit later why Brandy was drunk. And then, you know, once she comes over there, Deandra tells Brandy and Leanne to have a conversation and all that kind of stuff. So they do. And Leanne brings up how she said that Carrie told her that Brandy said that, you know, she feels like Leanne is in Cameron's ear by not being friends with them and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, Brandy's like, that is bullshit and all that kind of stuff. But she did mention what Leanne had said about her 2 years ago about always, you know, talking about her when it comes down to being a bad influence on people and all that kind of stuff. And I like how Bravo did this. You know, if you say that you didn't say something, Bravo will pull up the receipts. And Bravo did pull up the receipts and showed that Leanne did say that to Carrie and Stephanie and all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, Brandy wants Leanne to admit that she's wrong. And Leanne says, you know what, I admit that I'm wrong. She said, do you mean that? And Leanne says, no. And Brandy's like, that's my problem. Like, you can't own up to when you're wrong and all that kind of stuff. Which is a little bit true. Sometimes Leanne can admit when she's wrong, but then there are other times that she backpedals and pussy pops when it comes down to owning up to certain stuff. And I think really and truly when it comes down to owning up to what she does, it's when it comes down to Brandy. She doesn't want to completely own up to it. And I'm sorry if anybody watching this likes Leanne. I like Leanne as well, but I have to call it out like it is. She does kind of backpedal sometimes, and I'm sorry. All right, so then we have Deandra. Deandra, she and Brandy, they are having lunch as well as. So this was a side by side scene. It was Leanne and Carrie, Leanne, Stephanie, and Cameron having lunch, and then we had Deandra and Brandy having lunch. So Brandy tells Deandra how she's hired a nanny and all that kind of stuff, and how she's so happy now that she did it. It's a big relief, and it was just something that she needed and all that kind of stuff. So then Deandra tells Brandy about her conversation that she had with Leanne and all that kind of stuff, and how she basically feels that Leanne is pushing her away at this point, and how she feels like the wedding is actually never going to happen and all that kind of stuff. So this is actually the reason why Brandy and Deandra showed up to the LGBT event drunk, because they had drinks while they were out having lunch and all that kind of stuff. And then Brandy says that she feels like Leanne is full of shit, and how she's tried with Leanne, and she said she said. Oh, so she, like I said, she feels like she's full of shit, and she's just tired of trying with Leanne because of what Leanne said to Deandra about her, be careful about her and all that kind of stuff. And, basically Brandy feels like Leanne is jealous of Deandra and all that kind of stuff because of what Deandra has, her marriage to Jeremy and all that kind of stuff. And, Leanne is not married to Rich, which I don't know if that's the case, if she's jealous or not. Like, I kind of feel like Deandra does. There has got to be something more going on between Rich and Leanne than what Leanne is saying to us. I'm not going to dig too deep into it because it's not my personal business, but I do like I said last week, and I'll say it again this week, I do agree with her. There is something that she's hiding. I don't know what it is, but it's something that Leanne is hiding. All right, I'm going to skip through this shit real quick because it's Cameron, and I don't really give a shit about Cameron. So Cameron is talking to her husband about Sparkle dog food, which I think is stupid as fuck. And, she talking about how she can't get anything done with the kids and, her business, because the kids, when she's on her business meeting, the kids are there bothering her and all that kind of stuff. And, Cord is talking about some numbers with the company. I didn't listen to what number he said. But, she feels like Cord beats her up and all that kind of stuff, which, like I said, it's a stupid company. Dogs are colorblind, so I don't know why you want them to see pink dog food, because they're colorblind. And she said there's research that showed that not all dogs are colorblind. I'm like, whatever, don't give a fuck. So she has a meeting with the distributor. They call the distributor. The distributor tells her what they want to do and what they need and how they want to try to get it in Japan and all that kind of stuff. And that was it for Cameron, and I'm over Cameron, and I'm done. First. All right, so then we are over at Carrie's office. Stephanie is going over there to get her vagina lasered, and this is Carrie's new office. It's off of Lemon Avenue. If anybody's in Dallas and want to know anything about it, it's off Lemon Avenue, and she actually has a website on her Twitter page as well. So then they do the laser, and Stephanie was a little bit afraid at first, but when they did it, she's like, "Oh, that's it," and all that kind of stuff. So then they sit down, and Carrie's talking about how she needs to have a conversation with Brandy because of what she said to Leanne and all that kind of stuff, and she felt like she should have mentioned something that was said to her, in private and all that kind of stuff. Which it is true, Carrie. You should have kept your big ass mouth closed. Like, I like you, but you should have kept your mouth closed because, and I agree 100% with Stephanie. This makes you look like a shit stirrer. It makes you look like you're stirring the pot and all that kind of stuff. It's okay to tell the truth and all that kind of stuff, but you are actually at a fine line right now where it is. You at a fine line where you're telling the truth, other people's truth, but it's coming off messy and it's like you are starting shit for no apparent reason. So I agree with Stephanie because she brought up everything that has happened, the Deandra stuff, the Brandy stuff, and all that kind of stuff. So it does look like Carrie is starting shit with people. All right, and then we have Stephanie. She is getting ready for this 80's party. And, Brandy shows up. And, like I said, it's an 80's party and all that kind of stuff. So they are dressed as prom king and prom queen. And Stephanie had the little braces on her teeth and all that kind of stuff. Thought it was cute. And, Brandy was her prom date and all that kind of stuff. And they both talked about their proms. So Brandy went to the prom with Brian. She didn't have sex with him. And Stephanie went to the prom with her date, who lost the key to the hotel. So Stephanie lost her virginity in her parents' closet. I'm like, oh my God. And then she was like, you couldn't even really get it in. And I'm like, wow, TMI Stephanie. But I thought it was, when it comes down to Brandy and Stephanie, those two are a comedic relief of the Real Housewives of Dallas. Like, I love those two. No matter what people say to them, say about them, all that kind of stuff, I absolutely love those two. So then they are leaving to go to the party and all that kind of stuff. And Brandy is telling, Stephanie about her lunch with Deandra and all that kind of stuff, and how she mentions that the event with Leanne and how Leanne was mad. Hold on. Oh yeah, the LGBT event and how Leanne was mad and all that kind of stuff. And then basically, what it is Stephanie feels like when it comes down to Deandra, that she feels like Deandra is putting Brandy in this whole situation with her and Leanne and all that kind of stuff because, Brandy said that she doesn't feel like the wedding between Rich and Leanne is going to happen, which I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not going to make an opinion or nothing. I'm just going to let it be and all that kind of stuff because I know Leanne has that Twitter page dedicated to the wedding and all that kind of stuff. But we are almost, and I hate to say this, but we are almost in November. And I still don't know if there's going to be a wedding or not because I just really don't know. But, if it is going to be one here in next month, kudos to, congratulations to them. If they do have their wedding here next month, congratulations. And, Brandy says how she feels, Leanne is not happy and all that kind of stuff. And, well, actually not, she didn't feel like, she says she's basically happy that, Leanne is being nice to Stephanie and all that kind of stuff. And again, she's not trying to put Leanne down and all that kind of stuff. And I really do like that about her. Like, despite what Leanne, despite how she feels about Leanne, she could, try to bash Leanne to Stephanie, but she's not. And then we had the No Tie fundraiser. So, we got Carrie, Leanne, and Cameron together. And, Leanne is telling the girls how Brandy showed up to the event drunk and staggered and all that kind of stuff. And I absolutely agreed with Carrie. Leanne, that's not your business. Like, you don't have 3 kids and a baby. You don't have 2 girls and a baby and a husband. So you don't know what Brandy's going through. Brandy might just need one day out of the week to unwind and, be like, what, let the nanny take care of my kids and I'm just going to go out and I'm just going to have fun and all that kind of stuff. So then we got Brandy and Stephanie. They do show up and, also Deandra shows up. So, Cameron says that she has a table for them and all that kind of stuff. And Brandy's like, what, Leanne, can we go to the side and have a conversation real quick? So, then they go to the side and, Leanne wants to mention them coming to her event drunk and, well, not her event, the LGBT event drunk and all that kind of stuff. And Brandy once again says, what, I needed an escape and all that kind of stuff. Like, just let me have a little bit of fun and, how she feels the same about Leanne and all that kind of stuff. And because she feels like Leanne is not happy and all that kind of stuff. And she doesn't really feel like she's changed. And there's no way that she's changed and all that kind of stuff. So then over at the table, you got Cam bringing up the whole thing about Brandy being drunk. And Deandra's like, hold up, wait a minute. Pump your brakes, little girl. Like, we went to lunch. We had lunch. We got drunk. And that was it. And I like the fact that Carrie and Stephanie both took up from Brandy and all that kind of stuff. And, it was like, they just had fun and all that kind of stuff. And, Stephanie said, it's not your fault and all that kind of stuff. So then we move back over to Leanne and Brandy. And, Leanne is saying that she's happy and all that kind of stuff. And she's at peace. And Brandy says she feels like Leanne is hiding something and all that kind of stuff with Rich. And, you know, why haven't they, it's been 2 years. Why haven't you set a wedding date and all that kind of stuff? And then I did not agree with Leanne when she said this. When she says that she could say that Brandy got her baby, you know, to repair her marriage. And I'm like, Leanne, that was a real low blow. Like, I couldn't wrap my head around why she said that, because you don't bring a baby into it. Like, you don't bring kids into shit like that at all, because kids do not fix a marriage. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I just like the fact that she said that. And Brandon basically tells Leanne that she feels like she's jealous of Deandra and all that kind of stuff. And then, Deandra comes up, and, Leanne is visibly upset again. And, Deandra's telling Leanne that she is concerned about her and all that kind of stuff. And, Leanne says that she's going wedding dress shopping and all that kind of stuff. And then, those two get into it and all that kind of stuff about the whole, Leanne and Rich living separate lives and all that kind of stuff. And how, I get it. If it's not true, I definitely do get why Leanne is upset. But I feel like she's placing her anger from Rich onto everybody else, if that makes sense to anybody. Like, that's how I feel. And I could be wrong, but that's just how I feel. So then we have Brandy. She's over there talking with Carrie and all that kind of stuff. And Carrie's like, you know what, Brandy, I fucked up by mentioning all that kind of stuff. I shouldn't have mentioned it. And Brandy's like, yeah, you shouldn't have mentioned it. But they did make up with each other. And that was the episode. Like the video, leave your comments and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys later. So I have decided not to do Black Ink Crew. But I'm going to try to do, what's this show? American Horror Story. I'm going to watch it tomorrow, because it's midnight here in Texas right now. And I'm going to edit this video, and I'm going to upload it in Greenleaf, and I'm going my ass to bed. So once I get off of work tomorrow, I will watch American Horror Story. If I feel like reviewing it, I will put it up before I watch How to Get Away with Murder and record that video tomorrow.